pyridoxal phosphate is what's referred to as an electron sink. Let me write that down because it's really important. This nitrogen is called an electron sink. You think about what a sink does. It has a drain that just accepts all the water, right? You turn on the sink, you turn on the faucet, and the water comes out, but the water just gets extracted by the drain, right? The hole in the sink, right? That's why the pyridoxal phosphate is called an electron sink. Whenever you have the quinonoid intermediate form, these electrons, let me show you which electrons I'm talking about. These ones right here, the one that's circled in orange, those pi electrons can be accepted by that nitrogen of the pyridine ring. Okay, it's sort of like the analog. The sink drain is accepting the water, just like that nitrogen of the pyridine ring is accepting those pi electrons. So because that nitrogen is an excellent electron acceptor, especially when you have conjugation involved, it's called an electron sink. Okay, and that's very important. We'll see that in other areas of metabolism as well. Okay, now the electron sink is going to donate its electrons back to reform aromaticity. And like I said, what's going to happen is these pi electrons right here are going to deprotonate lysine, regenerating deprotonated lysine. And now what you have is pyridoxal phosphate regenerated. It's no longer in a shift base linkage. So notice what's happening. You can regenerate aromaticity in the pyridine ring. Okay, but the shift base is now between the alpha carbon right here. It's between this alpha carbon and the nitrogen right here. That was the alpha amine. So this is where our shift base is now. Now keep in mind that shift base carbons are especially activated when the nitrogen of the shift base is propane and when it has a positive charge. And that especially makes shift base carbons activated. And so what's going to happen is the lysine is going to deprotonate water. And when it deprotonates water, it's going to facilitate the nucleophilic addition of the water across the shift base carbon. So this is going to come here and attack the alpha carbon, and that forces these electrons onto the nitrogen. Okay, so what this step effectively was it was an addition reaction or hydration of a shift base carbon. Okay, and we know that hydroxyl group added here. You can effectively think of it in the same way as an addition reaction of an alkene that you saw probably in organic 1 or early in organic 2. It's effectively the same thing except for the fact that the nitrogen, again, is acting as an electron sink. It's not as powerful as electron sink as the pyridoxal phosphate pyridine ring, but it's still an electron sink. When that hydroxyl group attacks, the electrons can be accepted by the nitrogen. That's the beauty of shift bases, is the carbon's activated, but as soon as something attaches it, the electrons that are part of the double bond, those pi electrons can be accepted by the nitrogen. That's what's useful about them. Okay. Then what's going to happen is this amine right here is going to deprotonate the hydroxyl group, forcing the formation of a carbonyl, right? And specifically, this is going to be the alpha keto group, okay? And that forces this phenylene group. Okay, so that nitrogen is lost to the leaving group. And so now what you have is the amine version of pyridoxal phosphate. So this is the amine right here of pyridoxal phosphate, okay? And notice what we generate, okay? We generated alpha-ketoglutarate. So this molecule right here, this is alpha-ketoglutarate. And just bear in mind that if we were running this in the direction of alanine catabolism, we would have started with alanine, right? And this group would have been a methyl group because we would have spit off pyruvate, right? So you would just basically change the identity of that R group, okay? But in this direction of starting with glutamate, we get alpha-ketoglutarate out. So now what's going to happen is this amine that's on the pyridoxal phosphate, okay, is going to do a nucleophilic attack on the carbonyl carbon of the ketone group of pyruvate, and that's going to force these pi electrons to come out and extract the proton from this amine, and it's going to generate a lone pair of the nitrogen. Okay? You can keep in mind, we still have a protonated lysine in the active site, and that came from the cell when we deprotonated water. So the proton that we're going to extract next, that's from the water molecule that ultimately did the nucleophilic addition on this part right here. Okay? So now what's going to happen is we're going to have an elimination. So we're going to form a shift base. This one here is going to come in here and form a shift base, and we're going to lose water. And in the process, hydroxyl leaves that it does. It extracts the proton from lysine, regenerating the deprotonated form of lysine. And now we have a shift base like this, and that will ultimately be what forms alanine. Okay, so the next step of the mechanism is going to be the formation of another quinonoid intermediate. Okay, so in all of these transamination reactions, if you're expected to draw the mechanism, you should always expect to see two quinonoid intermediates. And keep in mind that this nitrogen right here, this nitrogen is acting as an electron sink. The reason they can do that is because it's a good electron acceptor. Remember, when you have a shift base, which technically the pyridine ring is a shift base, okay, whenever the carbon gets attacked, okay, so this is we're attacking this carbon right here, and this is the carbon that gets attacked, highlighted in yellow. When that carbon gets attacked, those pi electrons can be accepted by that nitrogen. That's what makes it an electron sink. So this little pair of the amine of lysine is going to deprotonate this carbon right here, and that's going to force a double bond rearrangement, and of course, we're going to get this nitrogen acting as an electron sink, and we end up forming the quinonoid intermediate. That's what we see right here. This is the quinonoid intermediate. Okay, now keep in mind, at this point now we have our protonated lysine. As you can quickly see through this mechanism, pretty much the only chemically active residue is the lysine residue. Okay, now what's going to happen is those electrons that were accepted by the nitrogen of the pyridoxal phosphate are going to be spit back out. Okay, and we're going to reform aromaticity. Okay, and what's going to happen is these pi electrons are going to kick in here, and then these are going to come out and ultimately extract the proton from the lysine. Okay, regenerate a protonated lysine, and now what we have is a prime target for lysine nucleophilic attack, and that's what's going to happen. So what we're going to see now effectively is a reversal of the initial two steps. So what we saw in the initial two steps of the mechanism were the free amino acid attacks the shift base, and that eliminated the lysine residue, right? But in these steps, the lysine is going to do the nucleophilic attack, and we're going to eliminate the free amino acid. Okay, so mechanistically, it's going to be identical to the identity of what we're eliminating. That gets changed. Okay, so what's going to happen is this lysine is going to attack the base carbon, and that's going to force these electrons to deprotonate the lysine. Okay, and what that generates is this intermediate, whereby the pyridoxal phosphate is bound both to what will be the free amino acid and the lysine residue. And what's going to happen now is we're going to get the elimination. So we're going to loss of the leaving group. So these electrons on the amine or of the lysine residue are going to kick in here, and that's going to force the elimination of the amino acid, which will initially leave as the alanine that has the amine in the deprotonated state. But we know that once it leaves the active site, right, it's going to do a proton exchange with solution, in which it's going to pick up a proton, right? So once it leaves the active site, then it's going to pick up the proton from solution. But initially, from the mechanism, it's actually going to be in the deprotonated state. And what that does is it regenerates our pyridoxal phosphate, which should basically is the ultimate base of the lysine residue of transamination. Welcome back to the Elastic Metabolism playlist. The objectives of this video are, number one, going to be to understand a concept called energy charge. This is not ordinarily a topic that's taught in your biochemistry course. It's something that my professor at University of Texas Tyler named Dr. Sean Black came up with, and it's not something you'll find in textbooks. And I found this really important for understanding the allosteric effects of some of the allosteric enzymes in amino acid metabolism. And those enzymes are going to be glutamate dehydrogenase and contaminase. There's also an enzyme called glutamate synthetase, but we're going to come back to that enzyme in the amino acid biosynthesis. We're also going to try to understand the allosteric regulation of these enzymes during the fasting and fed stage, and as we'll find, energy charge plays a big role in that as well. Welcome back to the playlist on amino acid metabolism. This is a picture that was provided in my biochemistry 2 class by Dr. Sean Black of the University of Texas Tyler, so I just want to give him credit for this picture. He's the one that created it. And what this picture does is it's going to give us a little bit of knowledge about what happens during different energy charges in the cell. Well, what is energy charge? Well, to understand what energy charge is, you need to understand which molecules might be associated with low energy charge and which ones might be associated with high energy charge. Okay? And so if we're talking about molecules that have high energy charge, what we're talking about are things like ATP, things like GTP, and in general, we're talking about our nucleoside triphosphate, and specifically the tri is important, because as we'll find, adenosine diphosphate and adenosine monophosphate, those molecules do not fall into these because they are not nucleoside triphosphates. Other things that might be associated with high energy charge would be things like NADH, and sometimes you'll even consider acetyl-CoA. Okay? So these are molecules that are going to be associated with high energy charge. Okay? Now, what are things that would be associated with low energy charge? Well, those are going to be basically the opposites of those molecules, right? So those would be things like NAD+, right? Things like adenosine diphosphate, adenosine monophosphate, and in general, you have your nucleoside di or monophosphates, right? And then also sometimes coenzyme A. Okay, so that would be something that's associated with, there's one else, coenzyme A. Okay, so these things would be associated with low energy charge. Well, what does that mean? Well, let's think about it in terms of the fasting and fed state. Okay, so let's say we're in the fed state and just ate a meal, right? So let's say we just opened up a bag of sweet potato fries, put them in the oven, and ate them, right? Well, initially, right after the meal, we're going to have plenty of NADH, right? We're going to have plenty of ATP, GTP, acetyl-CoA. Well, how does that happen? Well, number one, especially if you're eating something like potatoes, right? That's filled with glucose, right? So we're going to be running glycolysis, right? And of course, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase gives NADH. And then at the end, we're going to get pyruvate, and the pyruvate dehydrogenase complex will give us acetyl-CoA. And then now we're going to the CCA cycle where we get 3 more NADHs, right? And we also get NADH2, and all 4 of those molecules fuel the respiratory chain, right? And not only do we get an ATP/CTP out of succinyl-CoA synthetase, but we're also fueling the respiratory chain, so we power ATP synthase. So we're going to get lots of ATP during the fed state, and I hope that makes sense. So all 4, not only 4, but in general, these molecules that I've written on the right here are high energy charge. Those things will be associated with the fed state. And so in the fed state, we are in a condition known as high energy charge. Okay, well, let's think about the fasting state. Well, in the fasting state, we're going to assume that we've been burning the ATPs, right? We're contracting our muscles. We call it myosin, the protein in muscle that's responsible for muscle contraction. For every contraction it does, for every power stroke, it burns an ATP. Plus, on top of that, we're using neurons, like we're firing neurons, and to replenish the neuron concentration of sodium potassium on the right side of the axon, we're using sodium potassium ATPase. So there's lots of processes by which we're burning ATP, and at the same time we're burning our NADH by NADH dehydrogenase, and so, we're wasting our acetyl-CoA inside the TCA cycle. So all of these low energy charged molecules tend to build up. Those are the ones I have written here. They're NAD, and then we also have our nucleoside diphosphate, nucleoside monophosphate, and so forth, and then we can sometimes also consider coenzyme. So these molecules will be associated with the fasting state. Now, let's think about the fasting state, right? That's what we'll consider first, because those are the conditions under which we're going to run amino acid metabolism or amino acid degradation. So let's think about that. Let's think about our blood glucose levels. During the fasting state, we're assuming that we haven't had a good meal in a while, right? So our blood glucose levels are going to drop, right? So there's going to become less and less ability to run purely on glycolysis, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over our metabolism a higher percentage of beta oxidation and amino acid metabolism. Because there's lower blood glucose, so there's less ability to run on the glucose, right? Because we haven't had a meal. Now, this particular video and this particular picture is focusing on two amino acids. Those are glutamine and glutamate, okay? And what I want to point out, in separate videos, we're going to go over the mechanisms of glutamine synthetase, glutamate, and glutamate dehydrogenase. And specifically in the catabolic direction, what I want you to understand is we're running from the direction of glutamine, is on the right, and we're going towards the direction of alpha-ketoglutarate. And to understand why that is, let's think about the low energy charge, right? We have these low energy molecules, NAD, ATP, AMP, right? They're low energy. And so you can imagine that if we have low energy, low ATP, and low NADH, we're going to want to make more of those, right? Because we're assuming that NADH, ATP, and so forth, those are low, right? So we're going to want to make more of those. So we're going to run first from the direction of glutamine to glutamate. And the enzyme that accomplishes this is glutaminase, okay? And glutaminase is an allosteric enzyme, and it actually is stimulated by adenosine diphosphate allosterically. And I think that makes sense, right? That makes sense because ATP is associated with low energy charge. So if you need to make more energy by going towards alpha-ketoglutarate, it would make sense that the low energy charge molecule would turn on glutaminase allosterically, right? And it turns out that adenosine diphosphate is an allosteric stimulator of glutaminase. And glutaminase is a hydrolase enzyme, and it's going to convert glutamine into glutamate. Okay. Now, glutamate dehydrogenase, which is the next enzyme, is also an allosteric enzyme, and it's a reversible enzyme, but we're only going to focus on the direction in which it runs from glutamate to alpha-ketoglutarate. Now, one thing before we go into this reaction that I want you to see is when we're talking about alpha-ketoglutarate, recall that alpha-ketoglutarate can be shunted into the TCA cycle, right? And in the TCA cycle, it's going to ultimately get consumed by the alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase complex, in which we form NADH, and then that's going to form succinyl-CoA, and we're going to continue that molecule on throughout the TCA cycle, and we're going to pick up, at least till the end of the cycle, one FADH2, one GTP/ATP, and one NADH. So ultimately, if we're going to the left on this graph, if we're going to the left towards alpha-ketoglutarate, what we're doing is we're making more energy. I hope that makes sense. We need more energy because we're getting low energy charge. We have lots of NAD present, we have lots of ADP, AMP, and so forth, but we have low NADH and low ATP. And remember that ATP is necessary for life. If you were to run out of ATP, you die. And that's really because muscles need ATP to contract, and neurons need ATP to fire. Okay? So if we're going to the left, that means we're generating more energy. And so the way we do it, at least with these two amino acids, is by converting them ultimately to alpha-ketoglutarate and shunting back into the TCA cycle. Now, glutamate dehydrogenase is technically a reversible enzyme. Technically it's reversible, but at least in mammals, only one of the directions is really observed, and that's the direction going from glutamate to alpha-ketoglutarate. And to understand this, especially during times of catabolism, we need to understand that, remember that glutaminase is stimulated by high levels of adenosine diphosphate. So we have to remember that glutaminase would be constantly turning glutamine into glutamate. And so by Le Chatelier's principle, glutamate dehydrogenase is going to be shifted towards the production of alpha-ketoglutarate and ammonia. Okay? So glutamate will go from the direction of glutamate to alpha-ketoglutarate. So the reverse reaction going from alpha-ketoglutarate to glutamate is not really observed. And especially during times of amino acid metabolism, it is certainly not observed. And glutamate dehydrogenase is also an allosteric enzyme. It is stimulated by high levels of ATP. And that makes sense because we're getting low energy charge, or we're going to be in high energy charge. So if this enzyme is turned off, even if we have lots of alpha-ketone glutarate present, it's not going to reverse itself. So when GTP is present at high alpha, or we could say high energy charge is present, this reaction will not simply just reverse itself. It's going to be allosterically turned off. But when we're in low energy charge, we have high ADP present, then the enzyme will go from the direction of glutamate to alpha-ketone glutarate, partly because we're building up glutamate from glutaminase, and by Le Chatelier's principle, it's going to force the reaction to produce alpha-ketone glutarate. Now, one thing I want to point your attention to in this reaction sequence of going from glutamine to alpha-ketone glutarate is in both of these reactions we're producing ammonia. Okay? And remember how what we talked about in the urea cycle video, that high levels of ammonia are not good. They're toxic, especially for brain cells. So remember that ammonia will be activated by carboxyl phosphate synthase 1, and then that carboxyl phosphate will be shunted into the urea cycle, and the ammonia will ultimately be excreted in the form of urea. So when we're metabolizing a lot of amino acids, especially these, we are producing ammonia, and it will eventually be excreted as urea. So I hope this video gave you a little bit of intuition on energy charge in the cell. Remember that when we're in high energy charge, that's going to basically favor biosynthesis, and we're not going to talk about biosynthesis here, because we'll come back to that in the biosynthesis playlist, and we'll actually use this exact same picture. But we're talking about catabolism, and in the direction of catabolism, that's going to be favored when we're in low energy charge. We have low energy molecules, we need to make higher energy molecules, so we're going to favor the direction that goes from glutamine to glutamate, and then from glutamate to alpha-ketone glutarate. And make sure you understand the allosteric regulation of these enzymes. See you in the next video. Welcome back to the playlist on amino acid catabolism. And we haven't really gotten much into the catabolism yet. We talked a little bit about transaminase, we mentioned the urea cycle. We haven't really got into the catabolism yet. And we're still not going to get there for a few videos. But what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about the glucose-alanine cycle. This is a very, very important cycle, especially for muscle cells that are contracting anaerobically. Okay, so a lot of times when muscles are actively contracting, they're doing so without oxygen. In other words, they're not using their electron transport chain. So they're contracting anaerobically, so they're having to run on glycolysis. Okay, so we're going to mention in this video why that becomes important and how we counteract it. Okay, so one thing we have to understand is that there's a constant sort of tug of war between muscle protein synthesis and muscle protein degradation. So it's a very dynamic thing. It's not like you have muscle protein and it just stays there statically. No, you're constantly degrading muscle tissue and you're constantly synthesizing muscle tissue. And let's say that your muscle synthesis exceeds your muscle degradation, that would be hypertrophy, right? And if your muscle degradation exceeds muscle synthesis, that would be atrophy. So it's a constant tug of war. And ordinarily, if you're eating enough protein and you're not working out, that would be more of a perceived steady state where you're not actually degrading more than you are synthesizing. But at any given time, you are going to be degrading muscle proteins, and those muscle proteins are going to get degraded to amino acids. So our proteins are going to get degraded to amino acids. And just like any amino acid, right, they have an alpha amine group, right? And that alpha amine group can get transported into the alpha amine of glutamate. Right? It can get transported into the alpha amine of glutamate. Okay? And that's important because glutamate, as we've seen, is important in the reaction of transaminase. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about the part of the glucose-alanine cycle that takes place in the skeletal muscle. Okay. So what we're going to have, at first, we're going to have pyruvate, right? We're going to start with pyruvate, right? And what's going to happen is we're going to have the reaction of alanine aminotransferase, so put AA. Actually, let's not do that, because I already said protein. Let's not works. Let's do, instead, let's say alanine, or alanine aminotransferase. Okay, so this is the reaction of alanine aminotransferase. And pyruvate is essentially going to accept the amine from glutamate, right? And so it's going to generate alanine, right? So the glutamate is going to come in, transfer the amine group effectively, and what you're going to get out is alpha-ketoglutarate, right? So you're going to get alpha-ketoglutarate, and that alpha-ketoglutarate, as we've seen, can then go into the CCA cycle, right? Okay, and of course that CCA cycle is in the mitochondrial matrix, right? Well, we mentioned that alanine is a very important transporter of amines in the blood, and to understand that, let's actually look at the structure of alanine. So alanine is going to look like this. Notice that on the alpha carbon, it has an amine group. So that alpha amine is going to be this right there. And in fact, that amine came from the alpha position on glutamate. Okay, so that's on the alpha position glutamate. So one of the functions of alanine in the blood is to transport amine groups. And one of the reasons this is important is that, as I hope you found in some of the other videos, is that ammonia is toxic, especially in large amounts. You don't just want free ammonia floating in the blood. So one of the ways that we get around doing that is we attach it to alanine, and this is catalyzed by alanine aminotransferase. We take the alpha amine from glutamate and transport it on pyruvate in the form of alanine. So having said that, before we go any further, one of the ways that we transport transport amines in the blood is alanine. That's the one we're going to discuss first. One we'll do second is going to be another transporter of ammonia in the blood, and that's going to be glutamine. There's a huge difference in the transportation of the amine. The transportation of the amine in alanine is on the alpha position. So this position right here, this is the alpha position. However, in glutamine, the amine is transported in the amide position. That's on the R group of glutamine. The alpha amine of glutamine